Hey guys, it's Holly. So today I wanted to take a look at two LEGO Ideas sets that have come out recently. The first being the LEGO Ideas 1, 2, 3 Sesame Street, and the other one being the LEGO Ideas Winnie the Pooh set, which is now available for early VIP purchase. So if you are a LEGO VIP member, you can head down to your local LEGO store or on Shop at Home and order Winnie the Pooh. Otherwise, the wide release is the 1st of April. So when this set was announced and when I reviewed Winnie the Pooh, a lot of people were asking whether or not I thought Sesame Street or Winnie the Pooh was better out of the two of them, and I thought this was really interesting since both are recent releases, both are based on childhood kind of IP properties, being, you know, Sesame Street, a good old children's TV show, and Winnie the Pooh, a beloved kind of children's book series slash movie slash literally every baby nursery is decorated in that stuff, including my own was. But also they are kind of similar price ranges. So Sesame Street in US dollars retails for $120 and Winnie the Pooh retails for $100 US. So they are pretty much almost the same price, with Sesame Street being a bit more expensive since it does have a larger piece count. Now currently at the moment you can buy Sesame Street from regular retail stores as it has been out for quite a while now, whereas Winnie the Pooh won't be available in retail stores unfortunately until about June or July. So hopefully if you're lucky you might be able to find Sesame Street just a tiny bit cheaper. To start off though, let's have a look and compare these minifigures. So for each set we get around the same amount of characters. So Sesame Street has 6, 5 of them being physical minifigures, and Winnie the Pooh has 5, 4 of which being physical minifigures. And both of these sets have something very interesting in common, and that is that they both have specially molded heads, which is something you don't typically see with ideas. For example, like Sesame Street was the first one in fact to do this. Now with Sesame Street you do get Bert, Ernie, Elmo, Cookie Monster, and Big Bird as your minifigures, and then you do get Oscar the Grouch as a printed ball piece. Now it's important to note as well that Oscar the Grouch piece can be purchased on Bricks and Pieces, so value-wise, if you're smart, it's not actually going to cost you that much to get an Oscar the Grouch. Whereas Winnie the Pooh, I don't think many of those pieces are going to be on Bricks and Pieces. I certainly don't think that you're going to be able to get Eeyore off there. I can see possibly Piglet's torso, maybe Tigger's torso, or even Rabbit's on there. Not too sure about Pooh's. I feel like Pooh's is kind of an iffy one. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but either way, the figure selection in both sets is amazing. I definitely think Winnie the Pooh's is just slightly better purely because you have printed torsos on all of them, whereas Elmo and Cookie Monster, they just gave them plain torsos rather than kind of trying to decorate some fur on there. However, I think out of both of the sets and taking my favorite figures from each being Big Bird and Tigger, I think Big Bird is just that tiny bit more impressive than Tigger. But I think at the end of the day with something like these sets, it comes down to which franchise you have more of an attachment to, because both of them have custom molded heads. I definitely think height-wise it's more accurate with Sesame Street, but I can see how that would have been hard to do with Winnie the Pooh because of how small Piglet's supposed to be. But yeah, Pooh I think definitely should have had mid-legs, I think. So in that regard, I'd say Sesame Street is more accurate, but just in terms of appearance, these sets are very, very close. If you want to go by number of characters, then obviously Sesame Street here wins because you have 6, but I think if you want to go for overall quality and kind of detail with the figures, Winnie the Pooh would win. For me, I really have to say Winnie the Pooh just because I feel like I have more of an attachment to that in my childhood than I do Sesame Street, but both of these sets have amazing figures and I think you can't go wrong with either of them. Now onto the builds themselves, and just like the minifigures, and I'm probably going to say this a lot during this comparison, at the end of the day with these two sets, it's going to come down to which one you have more of an attachment with, I think, because the price difference in US dollars is only $20. Like, it's not that much at the end of the day, and both of these are spectacular sets. I think the builds of them are both incredible. They're both very unique as well in that matter. They are quite different in the way they are built. They both have fantastic figures, so at the end of the day, it is a personal choice. I will rave about these sets for ages. I love them both. However, just straight off the bat, I have to go with Winnie the Pooh. I have a personal attachment to it, so there is that factor as well. But for me personally, I like the fact that it's all complete. The problem I have with Sesame Street, and I said this in my review as well, is that you have this open side here, which makes it kind of hard to display. So for me personally, personally, let me just push Winnie the Pooh to the side for a second. When I have this set on display, I do like to have it at some sort of angle, just so that it does cover off that open end a bit more, and that way it's not as obvious, because if you turn it to the front, you can see throughout the entirety of the room, which I know some people don't really mind. For me personally, not a big fan of the way that looks. So I like to have it at this sort of angle so that it does look a bit more closed off and clean. Whereas Winnie the Pooh, the advantage of this set is that the entire thing is enclosed. There is no open back at all. And don't get me wrong, I do like open back sets. For example, with Sesame Street, I like this main building here because you can access the back of it, but it does look very finished off from every other angle. Now, in terms of size, Winnie the Pooh is considerably smaller. Yes, the price tag is smaller, but the build size and kind of surface area that takes up is a lot smaller as well. Now, that is partly because the entire thing is enclosed, which is something you can't say about Sesame Street. They really had to downsize it, and getting rid of that kind of fully enclosed set is something that they did have to sacrifice. In saying that though, they did manage to retain a lot of the detail and a lot of the charm in the original fan model. Like I said, this building looks beautiful. Hoopers as well, it looks great. For me, I do not like the fact that you've got kind of 3 enclosed walls at the bottom and then 2 at the top, which is all kind of left open. Now, it is important to note as well with Sesame Street is that you do have Technic pieces on the side, and we've all kind of been theorizing that maybe there's an expansion. So maybe one day there is something that kind of clicks to it, because if you look at the angles of the roof, even this main building here does have those angled pieces, and they kind of meet in at the top like that. Without going too much into detail on this set, since I do have full reviews on both of them, there are a lot of little Easter eggs in this set. You've got one for Super Grover, you've got Snuffleupagus here, you've got Squirmy as well over there. The Sesame Street lamp as well is a big icon. Then at the back you've got more like Ernie's paper clips, you've got Ernie's little rubber ducky, and you've got Elmo's bedroom here. Now, something that Sesame Street has, which I can't say the same about for Winnie the Pooh, I mean, besides the dust, because I haven't cleaned this set properly, is Sesame Street has a lot more space to move around in. Because the set is quite large, you can actually reach inside of here and you have more room to kind of play around with if that was something that you wanted to do or create a scene like that. You can do the same with Winnie the Pooh, however, it is a lot more cramped and you kind of have to remove Pooh's chair and really use the space in front of the set, which is something you don't have to do with Sesame Street, because there is a lot more open space. There's also a lot more studs for you to kind of attach characters to, which is really nice. Moving along, and there is a little reference to Abby Cadabby, as well as more space to move around with, and there's also Cookie Monster's apartment, as I'm going to call it, because that's how they kind of depict it in the thing, but honestly I can't remember. And inside of there is a reference to the Count, as well as another bat, which I like to pretend is actually the Count, plus some more another printed tiles. And then at the bottom you do have Hooper's store, which is where it kind of downfalls for me because of this big open side. And I really do feel like if there was a wall here and a wall at the bottom as well, and this back was open, I feel like I would be able to recommend this set just slightly more when putting it up against Winnie the Pooh. Because a complaint a lot of people have had about Winnie the Pooh is the small size, and kind of, yes, it is fully enclosed, but even when you open it up, it still feels quite small, and as you can see, it's quite cramped. There's not a lot. You can remove Pooh's chair, but there's not a lot of space to kind of move around in. Like Sesame Street, there are a lot of references as well, like you've got the locket from the Tigger movie, you have references to the designer's kids and the designer himself in the form of kind of Pooh's little book here. You've got a bunch of printed honey pots and things like that, and it's really cute and really neat, and I love both of these sets. And because these sets are so different but so similar at the same time, I feel like it's very hard to actually compare them. I definitely think if you want something that's kind of a bigger display piece and looks like it's more value for money, Sesame Street I think is going to be the way to go, because it is larger. It looks slightly more impressive than Winnie the Pooh, although I think build-wise, Winnie the Pooh's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more unique. There's a lot better part usage, and I think overall it was more fun for me to sit down and build Winnie the Pooh. Then when it comes to displayability, I think Winnie the Pooh wins there. It's finished, and that's something I can't say about Sesame Street. But then if you look at playability, and if that's something that you're interested in, Sesame Street wins there because there's just more space to move around, and I think think this one, like I've said before, it's all up to your personal preference. Do you have a bigger connection with Sesame Street, or do you have a bigger connection with Winnie the Pooh? And that's something I think you are going to have to sit down and kind of ask yourself. I think right now, because Sesame Street is available at retailers, it's going to be a lot kind of more appealing to many people because potentially you could get this set on sale. Whereas Winnie the Pooh, we're only at the VIP release. It's still very, very new. It hasn't even been wide released yet. It's going to be a while until we get to that point. But both of these sets, I think, are going to be extremely popular for years to come. They are both very nostalgic for me, and I know many other people as well. And no matter what set you go with, I think you will be very, very happy. It's really hard to recommend one over the other because there are so many factors that kind of come down to it, but I think at the end of the day, I would go Winnie the Pooh just because of the fact that it's complete. It doesn't have that open wall. That's literally the only thing I think that puts it above Sesame Street. Like, there is not much between these two sets at all. They are both wonderful, and I will praise them till the end of the earth because I just think they are very, very well done. Both of them have a certain charm to it, which I haven't seen in quite a long time from Lego, and they just make me really happy. So overall, although I feel like I've wrapped everything up already, it's up to you at the end of the day. I know that is literally the worst piece of advice that I can give you, but it truly is. Something like this, it's all about what your personal preference is. And for me, if I really had to pick, I would go Winnie the Pooh. I think for now, because Winnie the Pooh is the latest and greatest thing, and I personally think it's going to sell out just a bit faster because I feel like Winnie the Pooh, while they've both been around for the same time, I feel like it just has a slightly stronger connection purely because of the fact that it's Disney. But nevertheless, you will be happy with whatever you purchase. These are two amazing sets and some of the best that are on sale by Lego at the moment. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and were able to get something out of it because I feel like this was the least helpful comparison ever, but I thought it was really interesting to take a look at these sets side by side, considering how similar they are, not just in design, but also price and kind of concept in general. For anyone planning on purchasing Winnie the Pooh today, I hope you enjoy this set as much as I have, and if you were tossing up between these two, let me know which one you prefer in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below, and until next time guys, I'll see you later.